Hello, welcome to Sonic Lab Preview. Today we've got the Nektar Panorama T4, which is the brand new MIDI controller from those guys. It's a much more sort of budget affair than the previous one. The previous Panorama was a lot more, had a moving fader and sort of bit color screen. This one gives you a lot of the same functionality, but brings it down in price quite a lot. And what I'm going to do here is just sort of take you through the features. It's sort of almost like a Friday fun, but it's I'm not sure if it's going to go out on a Friday, but there is some musical aspect to it. But what the idea is to show you some of the capabilities, and if you've got any questions about it, you can leave them below, because somebody's going to come down from Nektar and give us a kind of real sort of thorough going over. We've had Tim here on several occasions with Nektar stuff before, and he really knows the stuff inside out. So if you've got any questions, like I say, leave them in the comments below. So let's start with a look at the unit itself. It's similar in vibe. It's black rather than white. The T-Series has a new keybed, which is exposed at the side, just like the original P-Series. This is a 49 key version. The T6 has 61 keys. It's quite a nice synth feel. It's got aftertouch as well. At the heart of it, we've got this LCD display, which is not color. We've got 9 MIDI faders, assignable faders, which can work in a number of ways, because as with the previous Nektar stuff, it's been used with their smart mapping, which is it's something that they've done on a plugin by plugin basis, whereas this, they've changed the underlying technology on it, and they're using a plugin called Nektarine, which follows the way that a lot of other companies have done it, which is to create their own host for plugins that you instantiate, and then you bring those patches in, and it gives you more control over those. So they've gone that route. But this can be generic MIDI control, it can be Nektarine control, it can be DAW control. We've also got 8 rotary encoders. There's 8 velocity and pressure pads in 2 banks, so you've got bank A and bank B, a little transport control and various buttons and a few other features beside. If we come in close, we can see there are 3 modes of operation. Mixer mode, now this is kind of how it would integrate directly with your DAW. In this case, I've got Reaper up here, which is on the screen right there. I've got a few tracks, and just moving track assignments and adjusting the levels, you know, gets you where you would expect it to. You would expect things to be. And then we've got transport control, so we can go back and forwards, we can hit play, record. And these are sort of custom maps. I downloaded a Reaper thing that installed itself, and then it just appeared, and then these controls seem to work. And I think that's the case with a number of DAWs. You're probably going to ask about Ableton Live. I don't know the answer to that. I don't think they've got that same level of integration, but we can ask Tim about that if that's planned or whatever when he comes down. So the next method of operation, we've got instrument mode, and what this does is communicate directly then with the plugin itself. I'll show you a bit more about that. Then we've got a multi-mode, because the host can take, I think that looks like up to 8 plugins. Then there's an internal mode, which is more your sort of standard MIDI mapping, so that way you would be telling all of these what you want them to do specifically. Should mention there are 6 buttons along here, which are track select, bank select, shift functions. Then there are these 4 little buttons here, which are sort of soft buttons, and now depending on where you are, they will do different things depending on what your what screen you're currently in. So if I now move my track, select the track to the first track in my little musical ditty there, and I'm going to press the view button. What that'll do is bring up the instance of Nektarine with the Quanta. And Nektarine is something that we can just kind of have a brief look at. So if I go to this mode, this view rather, you can see that we can have up to 8 plugins loaded within Nektarine. And I've just got one in Quanta. I'm looking at the kind of Quanta view. So essentially what we do within Nektarine is, using our browser, we can load in different plugins as a patch. So for instance, you know, I've loaded Quanta here. If I go to, I don't know, this one, then what it actually will have loaded is Spitfire Audio's lab. This is the strings. So the browser enables us to kind of load sets of plugins inside. So the idea is there, rather than browsing the presets of the plugin, you load the plugin into Nektarine, and then you set the plugin up to be the preset that you want, and when you save Nektarine, it loads the settings of that plugin and the plugin into the patch. You see what I mean? So when you save a Nektarine patch, it brings whatever plugin it is that you want and the sound that that plugin also has, or any combination of the things. So if I now just track down a couple, go to spare track, and then hit view, I seem to have, what have I got here? I've got one of the Labs voices, which in this case is strings. Now what I can do is if I hit instrument and then browse, I've got all the presets that I've got available, and if I show you on the actual computer screen as well. So now I've just selected the soft piano, which is another Labs free. This is the Spitfire audio stuff, totally free. It's absolutely amazing. So I've got this lovely piano, got a sustain pedal plugged in. Very nice. But now I can edit the actual sounds of the voice. So now I press the instrument and I've got access to parameters which I can set up on various different pages. I might put a bit of reverb on this piano. That's quite nice. Maybe actually what I want to do is, rather than that, I want to put some of my own reverb in. So I go back to mixer. I come tight in here. I've got a shimmer. Lovely, and a bit of delay. So let's bring it up an octave and play a little bit of sound. So it's really nice. I mean, you can't beat this beautiful soft piano. Ah, isn't that delightful? But say I want to change that voice up, I'll take my sends down a bit because I probably don't want to do that. Go back to instrument. Let's try plops. Yeah, that's good. Come back to my main thing, and I've actually got parameter control over these, so I can turn my ARP on. Let's try that track. Yeah, we'll leave that. I like the sound of that. So now if we come up to, let's see, another track on here. I can put my screen behind me. It's probably a bit easier then, isn't it? So let's come up to this other sound I've got here. I'm going to press play because I've actually got a bass line which I've recorded here. And now what I can do is I can come in and I can edit that sound a little bit more. Got some filter. Let's put a bit of delay on that. Quite like that. Okay. So let's, now I've got some drums which I could actually throw up here. Not sure about that arpeggio, it's a bit odd, but let's go with it nonetheless. So now I'm going to, again, just basically select my next track, which if I hit view, I'm going to my soft piano, which I've already got instantiated. Got quite a lot of delay on this. You can see if I go to my mixer, and a bit of shimmer, well, a lot of shimmer, but I've also got, if I take that out of the way, I've got this string part, which if I just come down here, that's quite nice. So if I come back to my piano, before I do that, let's just stop this. There's another nice thing. My arpeggio will nicely play in the background, so I put it on hold, which I've edited via. So you can see I'm kind of not really touching the computer. So this is just giving you an idea of how you can integrate things. There's another feature which you can see here, which are these key repeat and pad repeats. And so I can just press, and I press and hold. And they will be to a particular clock amount. I'm using the mod wheel to increase the velocity, but I could use aftertouch as well. And I can set my various other functions like swing and the master tempo. It's quite a nice creative feature actually, this. So I can just continue to kind of jam with this. And that's one thing I really like about this. So I think I might record some of that. My arpeggiator, FM8, instrument, so I'm just going to take the ARP off. Let's browse for another sound in here, see if there's something else I can get in. Let's try that. I'll just record a bit of that. We can have a look. So, you know, I'm kind of jamming away there. Yeah, I've done a bit of prep with this. I've set up the things, but the point is with the browser and once you've set your patches up, you can just load in a load of sounds, maybe in a template, and have Nektarine on a few tracks. So you can just kind of load some of your favorite plugins, and then you're all about the hands-on control of this. So initial thoughts of this are actually quite good. I mean, it takes a little bit of setup time. I was doing a bit of head scratching to begin with, but once you're there, it's quite quick to move around between all of those little kind of bits. I should show you a little bit more about the Nektarine editor, because there's quite a lot more to it as well. If I just open it up here, actually I can press my view button. So then if we go to our Quanto, we can see that these are all the parameters that are available to it. And then we can set these up. So for instance, I might want to set these buttons to take me back to the home or to the other screens that I might have set up, the other pages. So I can just do that. There we go, B, C. And then we look at the screen, and immediately these buttons are already here. Or if I come to my labs instrument, actually it's really straightforward just to drag the control that you want to assign to that knob, and you just drop it on. So if we look at the screen here, I can say, well, let's put the release there, and then it's immediately updated. So then we can sort of set these however we want. So there is quite a lot of complexity to this, but also a lot of flexibility. One thing I couldn't figure out is how to save those assignments, but I'm sure I'll be able to figure that out in time. Really, the point of this was just to give you an idea of what the Panorama T4 was about. As I say, we've got someone coming down from Nektar who will be able to answer any deeper questions, which I think you should leave in the comments below. Anyway, that's it for this time. Thanks for watching. See you next time.